Alright everyone, welcome back to another episode of Enigmatica 6. I hope everyone is doing great today. I know that I am. We are jumping on into things, and we got a few things actually to catch you guys up on, so we're going to run through that super quickly, because we do have a lot to get to today. And spoiler alert, it does buzz around. So, anywho, so I did a little bit of work off camera. That's why I wanted to just kind of recap you guys on a few things here. I have done a little bit of work on the base here. Just kind of mindless stuff that it didn't really make sense to have an episode on, and it was just, I don't know. Work's been pretty busy as well, so it'll be late at night, and I kind of just want to kick back and relax and just kind of turn everything off, turn my brain off, and this is an easy way to do it, is just do a little bit of work here on the base. But anyway, so we have extended our walkway all the way down here. We now have a nice kind of intersection going on here that we are planning to build around. We'll build some more stuff off that way. And then I did start down this path. So as you can see, we have a straight shot right through the top of the mountain here. And this is all, for the most part, been decorated out. There's still a few things that need to be polished up here or there, but not too shabby. And then this is going to be our main working space. So what I was running into with our inventory is that we just really didn't have enough space for all those chests. And everything is just kind of getting thrown in there, which works for now. But ultimately, I want a good space where we could set up some machines, we could set up some altars, we could set up whatever it may be as we get going forward. So I built out this nice large space for us, and it is 5 wide in each pocket here. I think it's 7 for what we're looking at right now, if I'm not mistaken. So it's got plenty of space in here. Again, some more decoration needs to be done, and as we start populating it with stuff, obviously it'll look a little bit more filled out. Now coming along this way, like you saw, it goes right out to the other side here, which is pretty cool to see. Looking over this, I think it's, yeah, the maple taiga, aka the taiga. I think taiga? Yeah, I think that's correct. Anywho, lots of maple trees down here. I'm actually going to go down here and get a couple of them relatively shortly here, because I do want to use them for a build that we are doing today. But as you can see, we built it out. We have some nice green area right here that we can easily get around and put some stuff up here as well. If we needed to grow a couple additional crops up here or whatever it may be, maybe something that needs to be exposed to the sky a little bit more, we could utilize this space. Just a nice open area. Obviously, not everything is done yet. And then moving back in this direction, as you can see, it's still a work in progress, but we've dug out a decent amount back here. And originally I was planning on having this be a huge inventory storage area, but I'm not too sure on it yet. I kind of started switching gears, so we will see how that ultimately goes. But anyway, that's for the most part everything done over here. We have done some stuff towards the farm. We'll get to that in just a minute here. We are quite hungry, which is always strange to me because we always have so much food with us. But lately we've been eating a lot of food. So what I do need to do is get down here and get a couple of these maple logs. I think maple logs would be kind of cool to do what we're going to be working on today. All right, guys, we got what we need. Got some maple logs here. And you are going to see fairly quickly what we've already started doing down here, which is pretty cool. Let's get rid of some of this junk on our inventory. Let's eat this apple. I didn't realize I had an apple on me. But yeah, I probably should get some more food. We won't worry about it right now. Anywho. So I have started building out this area here. Again, one of those kind of just mindless tasks that I just wanted to do in my free time when I'm not working. So we went ahead and I did kind of carve out some more space that could be grasslands and having some actual grass grow on top of it. We've grown out our forest here, so a lot more pine trees around here just to kind of add to that aesthetic. Added some, additional roots to them, make it look like they're growing out a little more than what they are. And then we have our pathway here. So I did build this out. We do have a nice little waterway there. That leads us right up to the village there. So if we ever need to get up there, there is a good path over to there. And then we keep coming down here. And I've just expanded with a lot of different food types. So we have a lot of wheat here. Again, some more water growing in. Bunch of berry bushes, like tons and tons of bushes. We do need to grow out even more wheat. I would love to have most of this hill be wheat. I think it's a very cool aesthetic to have. It's starting to get to nighttime here, though. Let's sleep really quick. But yeah, we've been adding a whole heck of a lot to this area, and I think it's really coming along. It's really looking super sharp and very, very useful for what we need it for, as you can see here. So a lot of the stuff has also grown in as well. So we have like our squashes and things like that. Most of the stuff I'm actually not planning on harvesting. We have a lot of backlogged food as it is right now. So a lot of it is going to stay as is for the time being. These industrial hemp fibers, though, we'll definitely grab those because we probably are going to get into industrial foregoing. Or, right? Is that what it is? Well, there you go. You know what we're doing today. I think that's what it is, right? Yeah, industrial foregoing. No. Oh, hang on. I know what I'm talking about. Immersive engineering. They all start they all start rolling together after a period of time, but we will want this from a immersive engineering perspective. But anyway, so we have everything built out here. We have our original farm. Someone did mention that the grapes actually do grow between things, so you'd want like a fence post or something like that. So I was thinking maybe we would actually take this out and see if they'll grow between these ones, or if we do have to have a post beside it. If we have to have a post beside it, I mean, we could figure that out. I don't know if I have any on me currently. I do have some of these, but I don't really want to use those, so but we'll give it a go. We'll see if they'll grow between. I don't think they will, but again, it's worth a shot. So otherwise, we are going to have to use, like I said, some fence posts. But anywho, so we got all these growing in here, and then yes, we have a huge open water area. Now, I think I did mention this maybe in the last episode. I don't really 100% recall, but yeah, huge open area for fishing or whatever we want to do. I've grown it out even more. We have even more grass in here, bunch of grass on the ground as well. Other than just the grass blocks, we have actual lot of grass as well. So it's all coming together really, really nicely, and I'm super excited to keep working on it. I think some of the, again, more tedious things I'm going to do off camera, just things that don't really make sense to bring you guys along for the ride on or do mid-episode. Doesn't always really make the most sense. But right in here, we're going to utilize this space for something additional. I think right here is going to make the most sense for what I want to do, just because we could kind of push it way out there, but then we're getting really far away from our overall base here. And I don't want to be too far away, and I feel like this has a lot of potential right here that I don't really have any other ideas for. So with that being said, I'm going to get some stuff together, start building a little bit, and I'll bring you guys on back once we have a few structures up and going. Alright guys, we've done a little bit of building here. I figured I'd bring you on back and show you what we got before we got to go back up to the base. So this is what we have thus far. Now it's just a rough shell of the build. We are going to get into maybe something a little bit more elaborate with this, but we'll ultimately see. This is going to get us going, and that's kind of the whole idea behind this starter for, well, I guess I should tell you, our bees. We're getting into bees today because, honestly, they're such a good way to get resources. I feel like we really should just get into them, especially early game. They're very good to get resources from. So we have it set up here fairly well. I'm liking it. It's very reminiscent to what we actually had in our previous playthrough of All the Mods 6 when we went through bees. But I switched up the tones and the colors a little bit. So we're using maple, we're using strip maple log, and then the maple wood on top on the corners just to give it a little bit of accent. Obviously, they don't have any walls, they don't have any roofs, so we obviously need to get going on that. Honestly, I keep saying honestly, but the best thing to go with is glass. So we're going to want to get a good amount of glass up and going here. Just to make it more open, honestly. That's what we're going for. I was thinking of doing 5x5s for these, but these bees don't really need that much space. So I figured why use up that much space if we really don't need it? And then on top of that too, the ultimate goal is to actually get to an apiary. So we wouldn't even really necessarily need this much space for each one. We would just get a big apiary up and going and then have that be it, and probably just have it in this centralized location. I also went with having it go off on a separate branchway here rather than having it go all along this walkway. Just because, you know, in the off chance that we do want to put some stuff over here, maybe we want to put a hut here that we could then utilize for item holding for a lot of this stuff from the bees mod, the resourceful bees mod. Who knows? But anyway, we have grass in each one of these. The bees, depending on what bee you have, you're going to need different blocks in there. But for right now, we're going to need a couple things. First, we need food. I really, really need some food after trying to get that building up and going and tinkering with it just a little bit, because I originally had them all sitting a little bit lower than what they are currently. We've obviously depleted a lot of our food. So let's get back up here. As you can see, we have a plethora of food up here at the base. We just didn't have any on us. And then the other thing we're going to want to check on here, which I really should stop using our chests. I should be coming in here to grab glass. Now, I don't know why these did not get put away. Did they just not have a location? No, they should have a location because everything... there's plenty of space still, so I don't know why those were sitting there. I'm going to request all of those for the most part. And then we're going to stick some stuff away. I also forgot to mention I did use a marble bricks. So this is just normal marble, utilizing our stone cutter and then changing that into that different type. And I really like it. This slate brick actually would accent it really well. With a very, very nice dark tone to our nice white marble. So maybe we'll utilize that actually. I don't know. I'm going to bring it with us. But we can put also some other things away, like that coarse dirt we really don't need, some peat and stuff that we've been picking up along the way, and we should be good to go. Now, I don't really think we have enough glass, to be completely honest with you guys. Let's request a good amount of sand here. We'll get a good amount going. We'll throw them in the furnaces, and then we have it when we need it, realistically. The other thing too is, so we did get into the pipes mod, simply pipes, in the last episode. Now there is some automation that we can do around it, obviously, where we would have things pipe into our furnaces and just let them kind of roll on their own, or let them cook on their own, I should say, and then be exported back out into the system. But I'm not too focused on automation yet. I feel like what ends up happening is you get into automation and it takes out a lot of the grind to it, and I really liked this early game grind. The early game grind is fun to me, and I feel like we more often than not, unfortunately, just we overlook it, unfortunately. So, ooh, we have the possibility to get a honey cookie. I did not know that we had honey. We could get fried eggs. Wow, we have some good options in here. You can make a raw pasta. Really? Okay, I made a lot of raw pasta. I did not mean to make that much raw pasta. Can we cook that pasta up then? Like, is that an option to cook it up with anything? Question mark. Where did I put it? Raw pasta. If I put it in here, what can this be used for? Ah, okay. So we could use it with tomatoes to make spaghetti. But I don't think we have any tomatoes up here, do we? I don't think we do. We'll have to get some. We'll have to get some from down below. Let's grab some of these, though. We did gain a heart. That is another thing in this pack, is that new foods allow you to gain hearts, potentially. So, anyway, we have everything up and going, and so we can hop on down to our area and get going even more. I'll probably get some of it up and going. We'll get to a good point with them, and then, obviously, we're missing one important key thing, right? Some bees. So we're going to go out bee hunting once I do just a little bit more work here. All right, guys, we are good to go. All right, so we are going to need our horse here in just a second. Obviously, we're back up at the base. I guess I can give you a little sneak peek of downstairs, what we got going on down there. As you can see, we got to be careful here. I kind of did two separate styles. I did like a light side and a dark side, which I thought was kind of cool, just to switch it up. I was also thinking what might be cool is if we actually did the roofs on grass as well and put like grass up there, which would look pretty sick. Or leaves, and then have the leaves like droop down over the sides, or have vines and stuff like that. Lots of options for it. Again, it's kind of one of those things where we are going to be tinkering with it as we go, because I'm not 100% set on it. But I don't want to hold that up on our progression of at least getting some bees in, because ultimately probably the fundamental structure itself will be pretty fine on its own. So with that being said, let us get into the bees. So the bees mod is actually very straightforward, and I believe they do have a book, if I am not mistaken. I thought they had the 50 Shades of Bees, but I think it's the Beepedia now, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Which you need honey bottles for. Wow, you need a lot of stuff. I don't think we have everything that we need for it. At least we don't have honey. Let's take a quick gander at our tome here and see if there's anything in here. Yeah, resourceful bees. Here we go. So we do have the 50 Shades of Bee. That's weird. Did I just overlook it? I might have overlooked it. It very well could have been staring me right in the face. Right, resourceful bees, that's what we're on. 50. Interesting. Okay, maybe you just get it by default. Anyway, so the bees mod is nothing new. I'm not going to spend a whole ton of time going through the introduction on it because I'm sure many of you have already played with this mod, are very aware of it. But obviously, I'll just go over a few of the fundamentals and what we're going to get into today. And then we'll kind of just go from there. So welcome to the Resourceful Beekeeper mod. This guide is much less filled with bee erotica than information about beekeeping. So pretty much you're just getting into bees. And the other thing I should actually mention is that there is a chapter for it. So if we go into here and we come down all the way to Resourceful Bees here, you're going to start with this. So yes, there will be many puns. Resourceful Bees is a new take on resource generation utilizing one of the latest entities introduced into Minecraft, our buzzy little friends, the bees. This questline should help explain some of the basics of proper beekeeping and mutations, resources extraction, and tiers of bees and their hives. So, with that being said, I would highly recommend following along with this guide. So it automatically gives us some empty bee jars as well as that controller that we were looking at. And that's actually going to complete the next task on the list, which is actually getting some empty bee jars, which is really nice. And then we're going to get some more from it. Now you can also get a bee box, which is pretty nice. It can be used to transport up to 10 bees at a time. So pretty much, oh, rare resource. Oh, okay. So we definitely want to get this up and going, but we do need beeswax for it. I don't know if I have beeswax for it. I'm getting so distracted by things here. We do have this in there, which I got from a villager via a trade. So that one it'll be useful to have here. If we ever actually get those out here. That is the one thing. This thing does take some time to do. We'll actually stick that back in there. We'll utilize that. We'll actually keep that there. And we are going to get up a bee box. I think this will be extremely useful for us. I don't know if we have everything we need. Beeswax not found. Can I put that in there for it? And then put that there. And then request the what? Okay, request. Interesting. This thing is kind of... I'm not going to lie, this thing is a little bit junky from time to times. It's not as straightforward as refined storage, I will say. All right, so let's grab some iron. I don't want to waste time here on things. So we should have some urn chilling out in here somewhere. It just sticks everything randomly, so that's one of the hardest things, is just finding what you need in whatever drawer it decided that it was going to stick it in. There we go. One piece of urn. We're going to take that, throw it right there, and we're going to get our bee box, which is awesome. Bee box. All right. So we should be able to complete that quest and get a rare resourceful bees loot box, which is awesome. So we've done a bunch of stuff, and I feel like I'm skipping through a little bit here. So let's take a quick step back and talk on the bees. So obviously bees are a mob that you can find in Minecraft here. Now with the Resourceful Bees mod, they have changed it a little bit so that there are additional types of those bees, as you can see here in the lower right hand side of the screen, that are based upon different resources within the game. So if, for example, we have a diamond bee right here, we have an emerald, lapis, so on and so forth. For this example, let us take the diamond bee just to get an idea for it. So if we left click on the bee here within JEI, it gives you a couple of statistics around this bee. It gives you health, damage, has honeycomb, max time in the hive. That's going to be useful for understanding how long they need to spend in the hive before they can come out and pollinate again. Has mutation, mutation count, is breedable. That's more so important there, is if it is breedable, and then it'll tell you its parents as well. So what you would need to breed together in order to get this diamond bee, you need to breed a nether quartz bee as well as a lapis bee. It can swim, surprisingly. And then the last and probably one of the more important things is spawn in world. And now, if that is true, that means you can find this bee out in the world just floating around. If not, that means you do need to breed up until that point. Now, if we go over to this next tab here at the top, we can go to bee breeding, which actually talks on what it was mentioning earlier. where it says you're going to need a quartz bee as well as a lapis bee, and with them breeding together, giving them what they need to breed. So very much like any other mob within Minecraft, you have to give them items to make them happy so that they will want to breed. And in this case scenario, it is quartz blocks and a lapises blocks, and you will get a diamond bee. 100% chance to get a diamond bee. Now, I am not 100% sure if in this pack there's going to be baby bees or if they come out full grown. When I was in All the Mod 6, at first, they were babies and they caused a lot of problems. But then ultimately, I think they were adult ones when we bred them. And then we ultimately got to the apiary, so it didn't matter. We have a zombie somewhere around here. I think he's underneath. These guys, I definitely need to get some torches down here. There we go. And look at that. We did unlock another trinket. We've actually unlocked quite a few trinkets, I'll say. So we'll have to go through those at a later time. We're already knees deep into this other thing with the bees, so I'm not going to spend too much time getting sidetracked with that. So that's pretty much the lowdown of like bees themselves and breeding them. Now, for a lot of them, as you saw with the diamond one, you know, you need to have these two different ones to get there. Now, let's say you already have the diamond bee. You've bred up to that point. Well, if you right click on that bee, it gives you a couple more options here at the top. So it shows you if it was in an apiary, what your outputs would be. It also shows you in a beehive what your outputs would be. And this is where the resources come into play. But we're going to come back to that in just a second here. Now, moving right along, this also shows you what flowers they want, which is actually very interesting because it does say that this will be happy with normal flowers, as well as the blocks that are associated with it, I believe. Or is it just flowers? That'd be very interesting if it's just flowers. Yeah, this is breeding, that's flower. Okay. So the flowers are going to show you what they would need in order to actually pollinate and then create the resources of the honeycomb. Now, normally it is just a block of whatever it is, whatever resource that bee happens to be. So for diamond, you would expect diamond blocks would need to be placed on the ground so that it could pollinate off of those. But it seems like in this pack, it's just flowers regardless, at least for this instance. So moving right along. Bee breeding, it'll also show you here, you can get an emerald bee if you breed the diamond with a slimy bee. And it also looks like block to item mutations. So it looks like if you take a diamond bee with ender honeycomb block, as it on the bottom, you have a chance to get an enderium bee spawn egg, but it does need to be in a valid hive, if I'm not mistaken. And then looks like you could also potentially get diamond ore as an output. Ah, okay, so here we go. Here's another thing. So if you had some kind of stone, you could potentially get diamond ore as an output. Now, let's jump back to what the default output of resources are. Let's say you just take a normal bee, you throw it in a hive. This is what you're going to get, honeycomb, right? This honeycomb can be utilized in a centrifuge. If I take this, we come over to here. And pretty much what's going to happen is you put it in, it'll process through. It'll give you some diamond honey bottles, which is very interesting. And then it'll give you an output of a diamond chunk and potentially a mana chunk. And these are obviously very dependent, 20 and 10% respectively on those. And you can actually move up through different centrifuges, so on and so forth. But anyway, we need to start from the very bottom. We need to get ourselves some bees. We need to go out in the world, do some exploration, and actually find ourselves some bees that we can bring back home. Now, I should be able to get out of this. There we go. Have to hit it just right. But obviously, we're going to take our horse with us. I'll bring you downstairs here to the valley. Oh, there's a Skeletor right there. We're going to ignore him because I ain't got time for that. But yeah, as you can see down here, this is coming along swimmingly. I'm really enjoying it. There's going to, again, guys, more tinkering is going to be done. As you can see, we need to put up more glass, but we do have one chamber up and going. And we are also going to have to get some beehives rocking and rolling. So I'm going to go out in the world. We're going to find some bees. We're going to grab them, bring them on back, and start getting our bee colony up and going. All right, guys, so we are over at our bridge here, and honestly, the water seems to be a really good place to find potential bees. Now, it's actually very interesting because I see a normal Minecraft bee up there, but I haven't been noticing any other bees from resourceful bees, which is interesting because I feel like I had before, but now I'm not seeing it. Now, this is another thing you're probably going to want to pick up along the way because it's extremely useful, and these are bees' nests. This is a tier 0. It holds up to 2 bees, and it has a honey level of 5. It looks like there was a copper bees in here, but they might not be in here anymore, or they are now going to be pissed at me. That is the other thing. We had a uranium bee and a copper bee. They're both going to be unhappy with me, which was a big mistake on my part. I think if I get far enough away, I'll be okay. It's actually interesting that they sting us and that the one poisoned us. Are you still mad at me, Mr. B? Don't think so, but I think it tells me that it did poison me, and that's what the little thing next to it is. But we're gonna grab him. Oh, maybe, or maybe it won't let us because he was so mad at us. Okay, there was a uranium one over here. Let's grab him. Oh, that's a sheep. Okay, that's not what we want to be doing right now. There he is. All right. We will grab you, and we did complete the quest progression of Katja. I don't think that's in here. That falls within the normal Minecraft ones. So there we go. And if you do want to get the bees out without getting them all pissed off, you can use a smoker. So if we go into our quest lines here, I'm actually surprised it doesn't talk on that within here. It doesn't really talk on it in there. But pretty much I'll show you real quick what you're going to want. I'm going to adjust in my seat a little bit. You are going to want to get a bee smoker. As you can see here, there's a bellows that you got to make with some leather and then a normal smoking canister. And that's going to help you. You put that on there. It calms them down, and then it allows you to actually break that nest. Now for us, again, we kind of pissed off that copper one, unfortunately. So I don't think we're going to be able to collect it. So let's keep moving on. Let's see what other bees we can find. All right, guys, here we go. We have another bee here, the RGB. This one's really cool. Getting those is actually going to be extremely useful because they do produce a way that we can get different dyes. Now, it does look like we have some bees in here, and I wish that they would come out. Unfortunately, we just don't have on us what we need right now in order to get the bellows up and going. We probably could take out a couple of cows since we do have some cows here. And get some of the stuff going, but we do need some iron, and I don't have any iron on me currently. So we would have to do a little bit of mining and a little bit of other stuff to get that going. But it should be about time for them to come out. I think it just depends on the time of day. Yeah, there we go. They did come out. So we did get a sooty bee, and then we're going to get actually another sooty bee here, hopefully. If I break that, and I'll grab him. So I think these will be perfect. And now, as you can see, 0 of 2 bees, so we can actually collect this, which is awesome. And we'll get back on here. Now, I think that actually did complete a quest progression here, a bee nests. So you do want to get a bee's nest. Now, I don't know why the first one didn't count, but we do have this one now. So bee nests are the most basic housing method for bees. While they lack inventory, they can be upgraded to hives, which grant you more control over the population and production of your bees, which is really nice. And it's funny, we're actually going to get some of the cookies that we've been eating. So I'll definitely take those bad boys. Eat some more honey cookies. We also did get observers, and I don't recall exactly what we got observers for, but we do have the Beepedia here, which is another good way for you to look up all that information I was going through with you guys on JEI. I completely forgot to tell you about this, but this is, again, another good way. So if we look up Sooty Bee right here, so this would technically be a coal bee. And it gives you some info on it. So it is a small bee, has low health relatively, only 10. Passive, no. Loses stinger, yes. So if it does sting you, they do act like normal bees. They will lose their stinger, and I believe they do ultimately take damage and then they die. Time in hive is 120 seconds, relatively quick compared to that diamond bee we were looking at, right? And they are poisonous and so on and so forth. You can look at their mutations, which is really cool. So basically, this is showing that you can get coal ore out of it. Like you can transform, I believe, normal stone into coal. ore, which is really nice. So a cool way to go about it, I would recommend just sticking with the honeycomb that you can get from it. As you can see here, you can get sooty honeycomb. It does tell you the spawning. So for those bees that do spawn in the world, you can actually see their spawn. And then finally, it does talk on the breeding here. And then obviously you can go through and look at all of them. You could look at different traits. You could look at different honeys, depending on what you're looking for. Lots and lots of options. But as you can see over there, I think one of our biggest, difficulties we're going to run into are these grizzly bears that are going through and stealing honey. It's actually pretty funny to see it happen. They'll go over and they'll take the honey from the hives, and then they'll eat it, which is really, really cool. It's a cool dynamic that we really didn't see previously in our All the Mods 6 playthrough. But we have a few bees to get us going, I guess. We will want ultimately to have some more, especially RGBs. Like I said, RGBs are really great. It offers an awesome way for us to get different types of dyes very, very easily through different patterns, as long as that is still the same method to the madness. But unfortunately, it does look like we are running into some difficulties finding any additional bees currently. So what we'll do is we'll take the bees that we have. We're going to head back to the base and probably get a few of them set up into their homes. So guys, with that being said, we'll be right back. All right, guys, we are heading back to the base. But one other thing that I was thinking of as we are trotting along here is that it's really good to pick up every single bee that you see. Asterisks on that. Every bee variant that you have not yet collected, because you never know what you're going to need in order to breed up a bee that you might want. For example, I was just crossing the river back there by the village, and I encountered a water bee, and I picked up the water bee. Now, from my recollection, the water bee isn't anything amazing, but it could be utilized for other breeding. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to double check it, but it's good to have on hand, because in that case scenario where we do need it, we do have it. The other thing too is I think it is good for actually producing water if you needed to produce water. And in this pack, as you guys have seen, it was actually a little bit tricky. We had to go out to, is that a pink sheep? That is a pink sheep. You never see pink sheep. What? Okay. Well, we're going to leave him. I don't really have much to carry him with. I do have a lead, but it's fine. Anyways, so finding water deeper inland can be extremely tedious to do. For us, we had to go all the way out to the ocean. So having a water bee where you could potentially produce water would be a great way to go about it. But anyways, guys, we're almost back at the base. I'll get things set up, and then I'll bring you on back, and we'll close out the episode. All right, guys, we are just about ready to get things up and going here. So first, what we're going to need for our bees is a beehive. Now you can make tier 1 beehives by taking those bee nests and surrounding them with grass. Now you guys should know how to get grass. It's pretty straightforward. You just use some shears on some grass and you're good to go. And I'm going to place that one there, and we'll place that one there just like that, which should be good to go. And then finally, what we are going to do is, I think what we'll do is we'll take our RGB. Well, we do have we have a uranium and then 2 sooty bees. I think RGB is really going to be our best one to get going with here. So I am going to take our RGB. He's going to pop into the hive right off the bat, and he's going to go ahead and do his thing. So I do use double doors. I highly recommend using double doors on your builds for your bees, because you open one, you have one open while the other one is closed, so it creates an air pocket. So if a bee were to try to get out, it would be trapped and it wouldn't just be able to get out and about. So this guy is going to take his dandy old time before we get any honey in there. As you can see, honey level is 0. So that is going to take a little bit of time. I already have some stuff ready and roaring to go for when we actually do get some honey in there. As you can see, we have a manual centrifuge. We do have a scraper, which is utilized to actually collect honeycomb manually. And then I also did get up and going over here a normal centrifuge, which does take power. That is why I did go with the manual one, so when we are good to go, we have that option. Now, as you can see, again, it's going to take him some time. It's going to take all the bees quite a bit of time before they are ready to go. But that's going to have to wrap it up for this episode. It's been 35 minutes already, and we did a lot with bees, a decent amount of building here. As you can see, it is coming along fairly well. They look all right. I do want to add some more decorative stuff, and I'm kind of leaning towards adding some more leaves and things to give it just a like overgrown aesthetic, maybe. Yeah, I want to modify them a little bit more, but the basic structure is going to remain the same. But guys, with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in today. I appreciate it so very much. If you did enjoy this episode, feel free to leave a like down below. If you are new here and you do want to follow along, definitely hit that subscribe button and bell notification. We are just at about 1,400 subscribers, so thank you so much to everyone who has been supporting the channel over the years that we have been putting out content. Have no plans to stop, and I greatly appreciate all of your views and your comments and your likes. I do stream over on Twitch though. The link for that is in the description down below if you feel like checking that out. And we do have a community Discord set up as well for those of you who want to stay up to date with the channel, or just hang out and chit chat with a bunch of cool people over there. I do try to hang out there sometimes, but my life is relatively busy, so I can only pop in from time to time. But guys, with that being said, thank you for hanging out with me today. I appreciate it so very much, and I will catch you all in the next episode. Take it easy.